Stand by. The program will begin soon. I don't know why I'm talking about this. During World War II, we sent 90 million pounds of spam just to the Russians alone. I mean, we sent it all over the world. Our troops, especially in the Pacific Theater, ate it. That was basically what they ate all the time. 90 million pounds to the Russians. Apparently in like the 50s, Nikita Khrushchev said, you know, if they hadn't sent us all this spam, they might not have been able to feed their troops during World War II. So a little weird canned kind of ham pork product, canned meat, may have won World War II. And the Fed is trending on X. I wasn't sure why, and I'm still not 100% sure why, although part of it is because of this building that they're renovating. They're supposed to be renovating at one of the buildings at the Fed, right? And the other day, Donald Trump came out there with Jerome Powell, and they're talking about how the renovation of the building was kind of a little bit over budget, okay? First of all, the numbers on this are crazy. They wanted $2.something billion to renovate a building at the Fed. $2.1 billion. Well, this is $2.5 billion. But they're over budget by over $1 billion for one building. They're over budget over $1 billion for one building. $1 billion friggin' dollars for one building. This isn't even for building a new building. It's for renovating a building. What the actual F are they doing? If after a night of filling your rectum with vodka from a turkey baster, the cops find you changing a flat in the cereal aisle of a Piggly Wiggly and ask how much you've had to drink, and you say nothing, are you lying? Well, no. Now, if they had been asking, have you been injecting? You'd have to say yes, but they said, have you been drinking? Well, no, absolutely. Yeah, Lord Stanhope, absolutely not. In fact, you all can try to answer these questions. Stand by. The program will begin soon. A WNBA game got stopped in the middle of the game because one of the players lost their wig while they're playing, and they had to run off. And then some fan made fun of the player, and they had to run. And they kicked the fan out for making fun of a player losing the weave. Not a weave, it was a wig. Losing their wig. They had to have a timeout for the wig, a wig emergency. Which I'm like, why the F are you wearing a wig while you're playing basketball? But then yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, a game had to be stopped briefly because someone threw a big old green dildo on the floor. Someone threw a dildo out on the floor, out of the court. They had to stop the game. I don't know if they caught the person who sent the dildo, but the green dildo was on the court, and a large number of the players had no idea what to do with something of that shape, but that's okay. It happened, and then someone made this t-shirt or this meme, pay us what you owe us, which has a dildo on it. So that was fun. Hey, you know what the really good interrupt violence through community-based bystander training? Yeah, if the bystanders beat the fuck out of someone who's attacking somebody else, that would be great bystander training. They could send them to the MMA gym, you know, put them in an arm bar, smack them in the face a few times. Stop doing that bullshit. That would be the best community-based bystander training, but I don't think that's what it means. Anyway. And then the other one, they'll go back all the way to Dylan Roof. Dylan Roof's the other one, which, does anyone, okay, let me ask you something. A lot of you are right-leaning on the right. Is there anybody in this that anyone you know of? Is there anyone that you know of on the right who supports or supported Dylan Roof? Because I know everyone I can think of who's like, Dylan Roof, fuck that guy. He went out and murdered people in a church. Fuck that guy. But the left is like, oh, he was a right-wing extremist. Nah, he's a fucking asshole. Fuck that guy. Yeah, fuck Dylan Roof. Nobody gives a shit about Dylan Roof. Nobody claims him. Nobody wants him. He's an asshole. Okay? He's a little punk bitch asshole who killed a bunch of people in the church. Stand by. The program will begin soon. Reverend Robin Bartlett of First Church of Sterling, Massachusetts, uses John 1:14 of the Bible to justify why she brings her 11-year-old son to drag shows. This is what we're getting in the Rainbow Church. The Rainbow Church aren't exactly hiding. That's true. The Word became flesh and lived among us, and my body, your body, their bodies are home for the living God. That is why I take my 11-year-old boy to drag shows in the summer with my friend and fellow church leaders, Kate, and her 11-year-old boy. Especially if you're a man, bodies can be celebrated and played with. That's her message. What the fuck? California wants to let someone that is not related to your child remove her from school, him or her, enroll her in any other school in the state, authorize any medical treatment, including mental health services and drugs, without the parent's notice and knowledge or consent. Can you see where that might be a problem? This is not fear-mongering. I'm not being hyperbolic, she warned. These are unintended consequences, and it is terrifying. They are unconscionable or unavoidable. So that's one really bad California law that they're coming with. I can't believe. I'm just dumbfounded that they're doing it. Now this is interesting. That new mayor candidate, the leading Democratic mayor candidate for New York City mayor, Damme, wants cops to stop responding to attacks on Jews. And by the way, Jews in New York City are victims of the majority of hate crimes. Not a plurality, but the majority of hate crimes against people in New York are against Jewish people. And you know, especially religious hate crimes. Anyway, 345 hate crimes in New York City last year, more than all other minority groups combined, according to the New York Police Department data. Anti-Jewish crimes accounted for 54% of the 641 total hate crimes reported to police in the city in 2024. Since the beginning of the year, 60% of the 123 recorded hate crimes have targeted Jews, according to the New York Police Department. Well, Zohran Mamdani, the radical Islamist and leftist terrorist supporter, has proposed that New York Police Department not respond to hate crimes, instead that they be handled by social workers. Either this shifts resources away from responding to attacks on Jews and moves away from having law enforcement deal with those attacks, and instead has his political leftist allies deal with them by burying them. Right? My show, if I put something on the screen or I'm talking about it, or it's a topic or an article that I'm presenting in this show, I provide links to every single thing that I've talked about, and even more, the ones I didn't even get to, I drop them in the chat at the end of the show, and also I drop them in the description. So if you want to find these articles, they will be in the links at the end of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only Dawg Knight.
Friday, hotty, hi. Yeah, baby, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live, where I'm singing for no reason, but I'm going to keep doing it. Maybe the whole show just to drive you crazy. Crazy. I'll drive you crazy. I'll drive you crazy. All show. Maybe not. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet. Welcome to the Dawg Knight Channel, where it is the 9th of September, 2025, just like the rest of the world, except for maybe parts of Australia where it's already the 20th. Anyway, hi, how you doing? Happy Friday. It's Friday. Yeah, baby. Whoops. And I am happy to see you in the chat and everywhere you are that I can see you. Well, I can't. Well, you know I can see you, right? I see you. You're right there. Anyway, yeah, it's Free for All Friday, where not everything is organized as if it were organized any other day. But yeah, I have some trending topics and Friday Q&A and all the stuff ready to go. So why don't we just freaking do this thing? If you haven't shared the show, you got 30 seconds to click that button up there and do your own little let's go, replying to the X post if you're on X. Not everyone is on X, I understand that, but those of you who are, many of you are oblige me and take care of that business every day, and I appreciate those who do it. But first, I got to appreciate those of you who are here, and let's just say hi to the chat. Good morning, everybody. I'm taking it down. If you haven't said hi, if you haven't said let's go yet, you can find it yourself if you can. Just find me on X. If you're not following me on X, why? Why aren't you? You might not be on X, but if you are on X, you should follow me, I think. I wrote something poignant too about the Melissa Hortman thing this morning because it just pissed me off that they keep cynically using her name. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Anyway, first in the chat today is, of course, Mr. Avocados Diablo, who gets the bell. Thank you, sir, for your Johnny on the spotness every day. I mean, it's not easy to be the first one in the chat, and you somehow find a way to do it every damn day. Maybe your notifications come faster. Maybe you just click refresh a lot for a long time. I don't care how you do it. It's awesome. And anyone who is up for the challenge of beating him someday, you've got your work cut out for you. So get on it. Anyway, thank you. Also, good morning, Midnight. I appreciate you, Midnight, because, you're young and impressionable, and I try to be truthful and honest and factual and stuff. And if I get something wrong, I'm going to let you know, because I'm not always right. But I am more than most of these assholes on the internet. Anyway, good morning also. Kara Soldier, Resolute Germ, I said Midnight. Damme O'Leary making an appearance. What's up? Louie is in the chat. It's Lord Stanhope. Good morning. Also, the Pope with this daily message of inspiration. Yes, that would be Pope Tyrannius III, the Blessed Lich. Blessings of the Most High. Don't see hurdles in your life as obstacles. See them for what they are. Test. He doesn't give us impossible tests. And you are always stronger somehow after you overcome it. Oh, I'm inspired. That's awesome. Also, good morning to, Johnny Boomer Tech's on the board. Mr. X51 back again. Nice to have you. Tyler F's here. Good morning. Attack Alpaca. Did I say Lord Stanhope? Yeah, I did. Well, I'm saying it twice. Okay. Jay Blizza, I saw in the chat somewhere. That'd be JB's in there somewhere. And Blue Eyed Scream, what up? Good morning also to, there's Jay Blizza. I knew I saw it. Miss Wild Wolf, the lovely mother of Midnight. Also, Darren Roots in the house. How you doing? My other favorite Canadian, Unacceptable Views, is here. And that's about everybody. People slowly rolling in. Not enough like button hitting, though. Get on that and tell your friends you're here, because I got to take that thing down, though, because it's in the way. Also, it is Friday Q&A. Any questions you have, and again, They don't have to be necessarily about me or about anything that I'm doing. They could be about something in the world that you haven't heard me talk about. They could be just about anything, as Avocado Diabli certainly demonstrates every time he joins the Friday Q&A. So drop a question in the Q&A and we'll be dealing those about quarter past the top of the hour. All right. And for those of you who don't know what quarter past the top of the hour means, that means 15 minutes, as in a quarter of an hour, not a quarter, 25 minutes, because some of y'all just don't understand what shit means. Well, not in my chat. Y'all are very smart and bright and all that shit. And clean. Just like Obama. You're bright and you're clean. Yeah, I still can't believe still can't believe Joe Biden said that way back then, and then they still made him president of the United States. Oh my God. I mean, it's like, and then Obama made him his vice president, and then he became president with all and as much as they like to point people out as being, that thing, they still made him president somehow. It's amazing. It's just amazing. Anyway. All right. Let's do some newsy stuff, or at least let's do some show stuff. First, I have all kinds of notifications. What the hell is this? Oh, all these people sharing the show. It is awesome. So is this today's or yesterday? That's 19 hours ago. Where's today's? Ah, here we go. Starting out. Well, that's reposting what I put on the internet. Let's start out. Oh, today the first one is Ms. Wild Wolf dropping a. Wait. Oh no, this is. You're replying to that too. Okay, we're getting that. We're getting to it. That's you replying to that. Okay, here we go. Tyre Alexander, first one with the daily. Woo! The daily Ric Flair on the Let's Go posting after my show. Also, Ms. Wild Wolf. Wait. Free for wall. Did I put free for wall? No, free for all. How can you, what? What are you writing? Hello, Annalyn. What's up? Nice to have you here. Okay, I see what you meant. I see what you're trying to do there. Also, we got, what's this dude's name? I always forget. X-Pac. I never understood why they came up with the name X-Pac for this guy, but from D-Generation X-Pac, the wrestler. I always thought he was kind of a terrible wrestler too. But because it wasn't convincing, him beating up all these huge dudes, but whatever. And then the daily, not daily, but you can't even see this shit, can you? I should probably make it so you can see what I'm talking about. There's the Ric Flair, woo, and there's that one there, and there's X-Pac, and we got our samurai dude on the Let's Go calendar. Thank you, JB. Is privy to that, and then the daily kitty, cute kitty video. Oh my gosh, that is funny. That is just funny because cats can't do that shit. Well, maybe they can. Maybe there's a cat in the world that you could teach to do that. But that hip sway is like, fascinating. All right, and then thank you the people who retweeted the show, Mr. X, Tyler F, Jay Blizza, Resolute Germ, and Somnambule Nation. Why aren't these Abbeys popping up? Oh, that's Tyre Alexander, excuse me. Somnambule Nation's not here yet. And then, then we got retweets. So thank you everyone who's doing that. It's very important that you do it for me, and you don't have to, so I appreciate it greatly. All right, from DA Windows to from the windows to the walls. The sweat drip off my ma. Oh, balls, baseballs. I got you. Okay. Anyway, let's move on here. Today, important holiday that we always, obviously it's Red Friday, right? Red Friday, remember everyone deployed, but it's also National POW MIA Recognition Day for those who never came back and we never found out. Marty, it is a song. Yes, I know that's a song. I know it's a song. From the window to the wall. Just sweat down on my balls. All them females call. All all them no. I know that. I'm a black man. I have to know that. Anyway, that really didn't make sense, did it? Because I don't know everything just because I'm a black man. I don't know. Anyway, it's the Gary Sinise Foundation put this up today on National POW MIA Recognition Day, we pause to honor and remember the brave service members who were taken as prisoners of war and those who remain missing in action. Keep the faith with the families still waiting, and we carry the promise that their loved ones will always be remembered. Because, yeah, I mean, it's pretty unlikely. It's a lot of them. We're never going to know what happened to them. But we recognize that the families of these people who missing their loved ones who, you know, went out in the service of our country. So it's always a good day to remember that. And again, as I said already, it's also, oh wait, I better skip that one. Hang on. It's also Red Friday Day. Remember everyone to deploy. I always forget to wear red on Fridays. I'm gonna start wearing red on Fridays. If I don't, you can you know, throw a wet noodle at me or something. But it is Red Friday. Remember everyone deployed. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to wear red, but that's what the red stands for. Remember everyone deployed. Now, the other, well, how do I describe this? The other less significant and yet highly celebrated holiday that is today, before I get to the entire holiday list, is Talk Like a Pirate Day. Now, it's very, for me, I've seen this day pop up every year, and I don't know why it's on September 19th every year. I'm not really sure, but I often have to resist the urge to talk like a pirate, and I can't. Sometimes I see to talk like a pirate day, and I have a hard time resisting. You know what I mean? Here, ahoy, matey. Today, be Talk Like a Pirate Day. To celebrate, enjoy this montage of assorted pirate words and phrases that you'll hear throughout the Pirates of the Caribbean. The Curse of the Black Pearl. Well, I'm not going to play it because this is one of those things. Even showing that little bit of the clip is probably going to get me one of those stupid, they take your monetization away for that particular video, and then you got to fight with them over it by going, yeah, I wasn't showing it as a substitute for the show. I wasn't broadcasting your stupid movie. This was a clip in the middle of my news show, you asshats. And I don't think I've ever lost. I mean, in 7 years of doing this, I think I've lost one what do you call it when you dispute? I've lost one dispute in my 7 years. Every time I dispute these, I always win. And I just wish they would just stop doing that shit. But anyway, it is Happy Talk Like a Pirate Day. I don't know if there's anyone on here I could particularly show. Here, let's try this one. Let's try this. This is probably pretty good. This is just so you can get an idea what people are doing on Talk Like a Pirate Day. Here you go. Listen to this.
I've never heard any good pirate jokes.
Neither have I.
Why do pirates spend so long learning the alphabet? Because they spend years at sea.
Years at sea. That's cute. I'm not playing the rest because it has music from Pirates of the Caribbean. So there you go. That's what people are doing on Talk Like a Pirate Day. Awesome. Why is this here? This is in the wrong spot. Hang on a second. Let me move this where it belongs at the end of the show. Should I play it now? No. Okay. Also, other holidays happening today. We already mentioned National POW MIA Recognition Day. It's also National Tradesman Day. Celebrate those in the trades, electricians and carpenters and, you know, pipe fitters and welders and all that shit. Show your appreciation for tradesmen on National Tradesman Day. Thank them for their hard work and dedication with a small token of gratitude. Because these are the guys who actually built America. You know, your little finance dudes and whatever, they might help fund shit, but it's not the people who actually build America are the tradesmen. National Cat DNA Day. Ms. Wildwolf, do you know anything about this? You know anything? Huh? Yeah, this because you're into the cat thing. I don't know. Why national? Who came up with this? This is very specific. National Cat DNA Day. Unlock the mysteries of your furry friend on National Cat DNA Day. Discover the origins and history of your beloved cat. Do you know how much it costs to do DNA for a cat or a dog? I don't know. It's too much. Although we've thought of doing it because our dog, Clifford, we think he's a Rottweiler German Shepherd mix, although he has the temperament of like a lab. He's like, well, just pet me. But I don't want to spend the money on it. I don't think it's that important. Anyway, National Woman Road Warrior Day. What the hell does that mean? Are they wearing shoulder pads with spikes in them? Join us for National Woman Road Warrior Day. Recognize the power of female travelers and their impact on the world. What is their impact on the world? Just more bad drivers on the road. God, what are you talking about? Did I say that out loud? Sorry, ladies. Okay, let's move on. Also, National Jude Day. Hey, Jude, I don't know your name because nobody names their kid Jude anymore. Aortic Dissection Awareness Day. Show your support on Aortic Dissection Awareness Day. Join us in raising awareness and helping save lives. Any doctors in here? Oh, hey, guess what? It's Pietru Paksha Day. I've never heard of it. And then Day of the Glories of the Army in Chile, which, whatever, who cares? All right, those are the holidays today. Moving on. And by the way, now this is important. I'm just saying. This is important. Has anyone else showed up yet? Darren Root, you were already here, right? If not, hi. Because I don't always remember who I say hi to because I say hi to the same people every day, but I try to, catch everybody while they're coming in. Today is actually a day that's important to me. And it has to do with a celebrity birthday. 97 years ago today, Adam West was born. Yes, the real Batman. Now, as you can see, today is the day I thought was very important. Today, Adam West, the original Batman, at least of TV versions, joined us on this earth and made one of the most important contributions to evening entertainment in the history of the world. Yes, the old Batman series from 1967 was the greatest Batman, even though it was a campy look at the character that is Batman and that was in DC Comics. Now, when I was a child, I loved watching Batman reruns. In fact, they played them every afternoon in Omaha on Channel 3. And when I'd come home from school, I'd stop, watch Gilligan's Island, Batman, and then I'd go outside and play until my parents said, get your ass in the house. And that Batman for kids wasn't necessarily campy and corny and laughable. Kids thought it was like Batman. But then I started reading Batman comics, realizing, are they making fun of Batman? But no, they weren't making fun of Batman. They were just giving Batman a lighthearted look, but showing that they didn't want to scare kids with the actually dark past of Batman. And I loved Batman. So happy birthday, Adam West, posthumously, the one and only, the real Batman, the greatest Batman of all time. So happy birthday, Adam West, the real Batman. Is that thorough enough? Happy birthday, Batman. Yeah, it was actually, and I look back at it, the show is hilarious when you become an adult and realize that they're not being all that serious. Anyway, there you go. Sometimes you can't get rid of a bomb. Yeah. Batman was awesome. And I hope I don't get one of the strikes for that too, because they're really, weird in entertainment business. Now, Venus is trending, and I thought it might have been Venus Williams because I saw a picture of Venus and Serena Williams doing an interview during the U.S. Open, but that has nothing to do with it. By the way, Venus Williams is doing pretty good for an old lady now, still playing tennis professionally, jump back into the game a little bit. But that is not why Venus is trending. The reason Venus is trending is because if you look outside during the day or at night, Venus and the moon are right next to each other right now. And I didn't even see this. Usually I look up at the sky on my way into my job at UPS to see what's going on up there. Every once in a while you'll see a planet there and a planet there, the moon over here, whatever. But as you can see, their proximity is like that, even though they're not really that close together because, one's way farther away than the other. But pretty cool sight, and a lot of people talking about how Venus and the moon are very close to each other. Is my cursor seen on the screen? You can't really see my cursor on the screen, can you? Well, anyway, Venus and the moon are really close to each other, and that's kind of cool. All right, that's why Venus is trending. Moving on. Melissa Jefferson is trending. Now, Jefferson, and if you don't know who Melissa Jefferson is, well, she's a great American. She's a great American, and Melissa Jefferson does the double. Melissa Jefferson Wooden takes the win in the women 200 meters, the first woman to win both the 100 and 200 meters at the same time. Well, not at the same time because they were run at different times. But she's won gold at the World Championships in the women's 100 meter. Congratulations to American Melissa. She's American, right? I think so. She's an American. So there you go. If you want to see some insanity today, come watch Melissa Jefferson Wooden get gold in the 200 meters. She got 2 gold medals now, and the first woman to sweep 100 and 200 at the world. First American woman to sweep the golds. So good for her, man. That's awesome. She's a great American. Be proud of her. Fang is trending. Because Eric Swalwell's been all over the place crying about Jimmy Kimmel getting knocked off the air. By the way, I don't necessarily look. I think that whole Jimmy Kimmel thing is a big load of bullshit when it comes to ABC kicking him off the air. Not because they're kicking him off the air, but why they claim they're kicking him off the air. I don't believe for 1 second that they removed him from television because of even the threats from the FCC, which, kind of, or the fact that he was making light or lying about the Charlie Kirk thing. I think the real reason they took him off the air is because they needed an excuse to take him off the air, because his show was the lowest rated of the late night shows. And I'm sure it was hemorrhaging money, just like Colbert's show. And they were just, for years, probably trying to figure out how we're going to take this off and not piss off the liberal people that fund us. Oh, and there's more to that story, I think. But anyway, Fang's trending because anytime Eric Swalwell comes up prominently in the news, everyone starts posting about Fang and the fact that Eric Swalwell was dating a Chinese spy, or at least having some kind of relations. I don't know what they were, but with a Chinese spy. What the fuck was that? Okay. Anyway, so a couple people are posting this little clip of him yelling at Kash Patel during a House hearing or something. And so here's what. I don't know who actually got the best exchange. Actually, if you watch the whole exchange, Eric Swalwell, even though he's a dick, asked some important questions, and Patel didn't necessarily answer them well. But this part, I guess, is the part that people on the right are proud of. So let's play this clip. Here it is.
Director, considering that you have identified these people as, quote, government gangsters, will you recuse yourself from making any investigation decisions about these individuals?
Anyone that has been terminated at the FBI has been done so
the
because
question
they failed
again,
to meet the muster
Director,
in their constitutional
I will
obligation.
work on the audio-visual capabilities.
I'm going to borrow your terminology and call bullshit on your entire career in Congress.
Reclaiming my time,
it has been a disgrace to the American
Director, I'm
people.
reclaiming my time.
You can reclaim your time all you want.
Mr.
Chairman, you're going to allow a witness to speak, Mr. Chairman?
Director, considering that you have
Okay, so that's one clip, which is, if you think about Eric Swalwell and the Chinese spy that he was maybe stupping. it's a concern, but I don't know. The entire exchange, Swalwell did have a couple important questions. I watched some of this, but let's see. Is this the same one? Oh yeah, this is I call bullshit in your entire time in Congress. But there are people who like Eric Swalwell. Oh, but this is the Fang section of the trending topic. So all of these are going to be critical of Swalwell. Fang was truly, people Republicans trying to greatest patriot. President Xi asked way too much of her, and I hope she awarded China's highest military honor for having to deal with Swalwell. That's funny. Trump firing comedians. That's what happens in Russia and China. Cannot happen here. That's what Swalwell says. But Trump didn't fire the comedians at all. But, and then some people are here. Charlie Kirk killed a shooting. Democrats happy. Oh, you can't see my cursor. And then ABC Jimmy Kimmel fired. Ah! So that's the meme of the day. Anyway, lots of people are talking about Fang, which, I'm sure Eric Swalwell doesn't want you talking about Fang. Moving on, Gavin Newsom is trending, and I wasn't 100% sure why, but this is, so I'm going to just go down this and see what's going on. Now, people are still mad about what's going on in the Pacific Palisades. For example, this person right here says, what is happening in the Pacific Palisades is deeply disturbing. Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass have made it clear that instead of empowering families who tragically lost their homes in the fire to rebuild, they are using this tragedy as an opportunity to push forward their own pet project of government-controlled low-income housing, which they are doing. It's amazing. Did anybody predict this? A lot of people predicted this, right? A lot of people predicted that it's going to come back because they were saying it about Hawaii too, about Maui. What happened on Maui too? Like all of a sudden you're going to see a lot of people buying shit up, and then they're going to do some pet projects like, smart cities and all that bullshit. Anyway, that says this is nothing short of government land grab. By denying people the basic right to restore their homes and communities, Newsom and Bass are stripping Californians of their property rights and using the force of government to advance their agenda. This is wrong. This is disturbing. California families deserve the dignity of rebuilding their lives, not to have their land taken and turned into political projects. Get the word out on this nationwide. Yeah, they're making it really hard for these people to come back to their homes. Someone here says $10 million for Gavin Newsom for a government-ran media system, very North Korean. So apparently the California legislature passed a bill to provide $10 million in state funding for a governor overseeing news media subsidy program. That media leaders, I don't see the rest of that. That media leaders, or news media, they say will erode the incentive for news organizations to hold the government accountable for its actions. Yeah, look, I think a lot of these leaders, and I'm going to include Trump on this a little bit, need to stop. Look, I understand you don't want media lie, you don't want media doing this and that, but I'm getting tired of seeing any government try to dictate what people say in the media, even if it's lies. So we got to be very, very careful. You got to be very careful. Anytime you start saying, oh, well, the FCC should do this because this guy said this. No, the FCC should have never had anything to say about what people say on the airwaves, period. Even back when they were using it to keep obscenity off the airwaves. No. No. Anyway, I know there's an argument for it, but I'm not believing it. Spencer Pratt in Washington, D.C. for a meeting, getting subpoena power for the records related to Pacific Palisades fires. He'll be having Homeland Security get the deleted text records and all the records related to Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass for the fires. So yeah, the Congress is starting to look into it about the Palisade fires. But lots of critical stuff about Gavin Newsom. For example, this is someone here says, I watched homelessness take over the streets of California. I've watched our universities turn into anti-Semitic woke brainwashing institutions. I've watched Gavin Newsom turn California into a flaming dumpster fire. This is indeed a red alert. So this is just showing homeless encampments. Here's a homeless encampment in Koreatown in in Los Angeles, California here.
A good view from Skyfox of the sprawling encampment where you can see a netted dirt court. Residents in apartments overlooking all this saying off camera they see people playing pickleball while openly doing drugs. Hi, can I talk to anybody here? The tents are mostly empty at this time, except for one with a man who was not talking, although the manager at the building next door is talking, saying they've been calling police and the city for over a year.
We caught a homeless in the laundry room doing some sexual stuff. They're tapping into our power. They're dumping their trash on our property. It's been a headache. It's been a headache.
You got major safety, health, and environmental dangers and hazards with this.
The president of the LA Urban Policy Roundtable, after visiting the encampment.
The city's gone after the private owner and saying, you got to clean this up.
Last year.
Yeah, you blame. First of all, so here's what happens. So a lot of times when these encampments happen, they start spreading a lot of garbage and filth, whatever, around either that property or nearby properties. And then the nearby properties get fined thousands of dollars, and particularly in California, in Los Angeles. The homeless fuck up your property, and then you get fined, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000 for the filth on your property caused by the people who have been encamped right next to where you own it. And so it's so screwed up. It's such a screwed up system. You're going to blame the property owners for what the homeless people do.
The city did come and cleaned it up, but right after, within the last a month after that, they came back.
There is a somewhat visible sign for a management company, which we reached out to. There are padlocks on the fence, which doesn't seem to be stopping anyone, even the outreach workers. Oh, are you guys with the city trying to help them out? Good
Yes.
luck. Anybody?
No, no one's in.
No one's in?
No. Except the
This is
dog.
hard. Do you think they'll move? All right.
You don't care. No, you don't care. So anyway, this is very common in California. It's common in a lot of places, though. It's not just California. But, read a statistic the other day. There have been, there's always an average of like between 600,000 and 700,000 homeless people in the United States. Pretty much that number is fairly constant. But what is new is that while the number hasn't changed, the distribution has. And it's right now the highest distribution in California of those 700,000 people has ever had, is in California. Why? I don't know. Is it because they have more services for homeless people, but not enough to actually house anybody? Certainly their nonprofit organizations get millions and millions of dollars from the state, and yet nothing happens. Nothing happens. So it's a situation in California that you got to go, wow, what the F. Now, not only is Gavin Newsom trending, but Gavin Newscum is also trending because, his nickname. And a couple of people mentioning, because apparently, well, let's hear this. James Woods, James Woods, right? James Woods says this lying grifter would have to stand on a stepladder to see Charlie Kirk's ankles. The fact that I hesitate to use Newsom's name in the same sentence as Charlie Kirk's. Charlie was saving the entire country at about the same rate this scumbag was ruining a single state. So anyway, there's an article in the Los Angeles Times. The Los Angeles Times titled this: Charlie Kirk gave young men something to believe in. Newsom wants to do the same. Like they're the same. Newsom is a very slick and dangerous demagogue. Old scum, new scum. Isn't that cute? That's a good meme. Someone who says, here's someone who says, I was just made privy, a whistleblower brought me into the call, to a new policy by Gavin Newsom and his unhinged legislature, where basically California, along with Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii, are creating an almost CDC-like agency, giving their own vaccine recommendations for 87 vaccines, including COVID. while they are calling them recommendations, those on the call from socialist organizations like the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists were told an emergency bill will be signed during the next COVID flu outbreak to make approximately 34 of them, including the COVID vaccine, mandatory in order to attend both public and private schools in California. Wow. Wow. I wonder how they can do that to private schools. That's amazing. So anyway, Gavin Newsom. So there's a bunch of things about his record as this governor of California. You can go through that thread yourself. Moving on, USAID is trending, and this is interesting too, because I said before that I was going to talk about USAID, and it's on the block today as far as trending topics. Now, some of the examples here where they told us USAID money was going, and where our USAID money actually went. People are about to find out because we're thinking maybe they made Antifa a domestic terror, or the president declared them a domestic terrorist organization. I don't know who officially does that, but that's what he did. And we're guessing that's maybe some of that USAID money that's been going into a lot of Democrat centric NGOs. Some of their money maybe been going to Antifa too, and to help organize protests and things like that. So this person C3 talks about it a lot, and it said USAID is no longer funding them to protect their jobs. Jimmy Kimmel canceled, Howard Stern canceled, Stephen Colbert canceled, Joy Reid canceled, PBS shut down, NPR shut down. This is just the beginning. And then here's a major BLM protest in New York City. 3 black people and 6 white people. Fuck Charlie Kirk, spit on your grave. That USAID cash is gone. So they're not getting, some of these protests aren't growing because are some of these NGOs that are getting USAID money responsible for a lot of the protests? You know, all the pre-printed signs and the speakers and they'll set up a place where they can go have their speech and whatever. So anyway, also, it's been confirmed that Chelsea Clinton got a shitload of USAID money via the Clinton Foundation. And apparently $3 million of that went to her wedding. Now, this is all speculation. I'm not saying that I've confirmed any of that, but that seems to be one of the things that they're finding out, because the Clinton Foundation did get a ton of USAID money. Where's the one? Here it is right here. Breaking. This is Doge confirms that USAID gave Chelsea Clinton a grant of $82 million through the Clinton Global Initiative, $3 million of which were spent on her wedding and another $11 million on a mansion. Now, I haven't read the report. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, or if it's 50% accurate, or if it's 10% accurate. But even if it's only 10% accurate, as far as dollars, that's wrong, right? Did everyone agree that would be fucking wrong? Also, someone says that somehow Soros's organizations got plenty of USAID money. Breaking, it's found that George Soros got $260 million from USAID. He didn't use his own funds to undermine the U.S. justice system. He used taxpayer money. Should Doge look into this? Well, the government's already looking into this, because they're saying that they're trying to do some RICO statutes or some shit towards him. And of course, the left's howling because, oh my God, you're targeting people on the left. Well, I'm sorry, I thought you guys didn't like billionaires. George Soros is a billionaire who supports Democrat causes. Oh, we hate billionaires except for our billionaires. That's kind of the thing that they continually say. Real quick, thank you, Kara Soldier, dropping the first deuce in the tip jar, and you are now the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you, Kara Soldier, dropping a deuce. Oops. He says Newsom and California continue to prove how inept and tyrannical they are, and yet demonize Trump and red states. They claim to be funding impoverished red states only to have the highest taxes and crime rates and the highest rate of homelessness. And look, California has lots of problems that have only been exacerbated by Newsom because they spend so much time, they spend a lot of time, how do I put this? how do I put this? They spend a lot of time on bullshit. You know, like lowering the age of consent to 14, as long as the person who's you're having sex with isn't more than 10 years older than you. Did you ever hear about that bill? Because basically it was for, and you know, Scott Wiener, you know who that is? He's a state senator in California who proposes all these really whacked out bills regarding sexual things. And that's so that the gay 24-year-olds can strip gay 14-year-olds. That was why he wrote that bill. He thought, well, you know, these 14-year-olds can consent to having sex with a person who's of age. Yeah, that's a bill they passed in California. You ever heard of that one? That's the anyway. So anyway, wait, we're talking about USAID though. What other? Oh, and also apparently some of this USAID money somehow was being funneled back to some of these late night shows. They've traced it. Someone here says, let's be honest. Now the USAID money is not being funneled to the network to support these money-losing propaganda machines. ABC was just waiting for a reason to dump this talentless deadweight by Jimmy Kimmel. Look, I'm not celebrating the fact that Jimmy Kimmel's gone because of his political stances or whatever. But he is an asshole. So that's kind of how everyone talked about Charlie Kirk on the left. They're like, well, we don't support political assassinations, but here's why Charlie Kirk was a terrible person and deserved to be dead. Or why he might be dead, because he's such a terrible person. Oh, so you do think political assassinations are appropriate. Is that what you're saying? Anyway. All right. Let's backtrack here because there's a couple more notifications. I got to check what they are. Thank you, TC, for tweeting out the show. Appreciate it, there, as you always do. Great to see that. And Mr. X did a little retweet there, and thank you for who's doing that. All right, let's see. Oh, I gotta remember, we got Friday Q&A. I gotta get to that pretty soon. All right, let's see. Next on the agenda, well, speaking of Jimmy Kimmel, that topic's still hot on the agenda of X, the app formerly known as Twitter, except now this seems to be gone. Did it die? Oh, something went wrong. Well, anyway, so we already know that ABC suspended Jimmy Kimmel live indefinitely after his Charlie Kirk remarks. We've talked about that yesterday. And then another one up here is interesting. Apparently, moving trucks empty Jimmy Kimmel's live studio after the ABC suspension. So, is it possible that he's not coming back? By the way, good morning, Select Boy. I see you, brother. I see you. I see you. You're there. Moving trucks arrived at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood on September 18th, 2025 to remove furniture and equipment from the Jimmy Kimmel Live studio one day after ABC suspended the show indefinitely due to host Jimmy Kimmel's on-air comments implying a pro-Trump motive in the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Now, here's what's fascinating. If this is just a suspension of Jimmy Kimmel, wouldn't they continue the show with a guest host or a series of guest hosts while Jimmy Kimmel himself is suspended? Why would there be moving trucks taking shit out at the door? Because they plan on canceling this show months ago. This wasn't about what he said. This was an excuse to end a show that was hemorrhaging money. It was a show that was useless. Nobody was watching it. If they got 40,000 people a night watching it, they were lucky on a major network. So I'm pretty sure they've been looking to end this show. Why would there be moving trucks already? They were already going to cancel this show. Jimmy Kimmel knew it. They all knew it. They just needed an excuse. And an excuse that they could use to blame it on Donald Trump or blame it on the right or whatever. This show is going away already. So anyway, the backlash included criticism from FCC Chair Brendan Carr and Nextstar's decision to pull the program from its ABC affiliates, halting production after 23 seasons, and surprising staff and guests. Over 100 protesters gathered outside the studio decrying the suspension as political censorship, while social media reactions varied. Blah, blah, blah. That's the X summary of it, right? So here we go. Jimmy Kimmel's studio is reportedly being cleared out, furniture, equipment, everything hauled away. No formal announcement, no send-off, just silence and moving trucks. So clearly this is not something that they just thought up. If they were going to only suspend Jimmy Kimmel, like I said, they would have guest show host, wouldn't they? They're closing down the show because they were going to cancel it anyway. In fact, let me put this up here. Let's see. I'm going to post. How do you do this? Repost here and quote. Looks like they were. Oops. Were. Awfully quick with the moving trucks. Anyway, thank you, Kara Soldier, another deuce in the chip jar. Appreciate it. Whoops. What the hell? Kara Soldier says, ABC just opened the studio for yet another new Spirit Halloween store, much like after Colbert got the axe. That's funny. That is funny. So, let's see. Someone here says we have a lot. Let's see. We have a lot to talk about tonight. Let's start with Roseanne Barr, who, as you probably heard, tweeted something disgusting about Valerie Jarrett, a former aide to President Obama. She compared her to an ape, which is not just offensive, it's racist, and ABC, to their credit, didn't waste any time. They canceled a show today. I'm not a fan of censorship, but this wasn't about free speech. This is Jimmy Kimmel on May 16, 2018. It was about consequences for saying something vile. You can say what you want, but networks don't have to pay you to say it. Roseanne's been a friend of mine for a long time, and I know she's not a racist in her heart, but what she tweeted was indefensible. You can't just blame Ambien for that. Actions have consequences, and ABC made the right call. Oh, wow. Wow. That was Jimmy Kimmel talking about someone else getting fired for something they said. So, well, someone send him a picture of that, because my God, he was just, should have let Guillermo take over. Yeah. Was the character of Guillermo racist? Was that a racist thing they were doing with Guillermo? Having a brown mascot on the Jimmy Kimmel show? I always wondered about that. I didn't care. Actually, I didn't give a shit, but Jimmy Kimmel smirks as he arrives at LA's lawyer's office after ABC pulled show over Charlie Kirk comments. Oh, let's show him wait, someone send Jimmy Kimmel this. Send him that picture. Anyway, so there you get the idea. All right, let's see. I got a few minutes. I'll just go over some of the headlines I pulled. There's a lot of them in the aggregator. By the way, every day that's not it. Every day I drop in the my favorite aggregator at Ace of Spades blog, known as the Morning Report by JJ Sefton. And if you go through this, I mean, he does a really thorough job of first of all, he puts a lot of things in different categories. So for example, above the fold, any kind of breaking news he'll put here, Charlie Kirk's assassination, a whole section on that, section on the kind of the fight between Republicans and Democrats under Civil War 2.0. Different riots and things going on, crime and punishment, the border bloodbath, he calls it, domestic affairs, the courts, waste, fraud, and abuse, economy, Israel, Islam, First Amendment, red versus green, climate hoax, education, Second Amendment. Anyway, whole list of categories and several articles about each one of them. It's my favorite aggregator. That's why I put it in the links every day. And it's a lot where I get a lot of my stories from other than X and sometimes just news headlines that pop out at me. So highly recommend it on the daily basis. And that's why I put it in the links every day. This one, the left invented the Charlie Kirk Israel hoax to distract from less murders. So there's been a lot of talk about Charlie Kirk changing his position on Israel, I guess, as far as the Israeli war. And some people aren't buying it. This is Daniel Greenfield, who's obviously very, very pro-Israel. Now, I'm not, so I need to put that out there first. And I personally also, as far as this particular war goes, I'm pro-Israel too. Because by the way, let me step back for a second. The reason I talked about if you read the description at all, I was talking about the internet telephone game. I'm going to be talking about that a lot over the next few weeks, because it's my new theme on this show. And when I say the internet telephone game, I'm talking about how people either watch videos on TikTok, or they see stuff on X, or they see stuff on Instagram or whatever, where people talk about certain facts that they are talking facts, and I put it in quotation marks, facts, because I've been a couple people that I follow, even though I don't necessarily agree with them on anything, but I follow them just to see what kind of things they're saying. Have a real tendency to come up with facts about certain things, and in this particular couple days, they were about the war in Israel and Gaza, right? And this one woman was talking about how the Israelis have murdered over 650,000 Palestinians. Okay. And then this morning I heard this guy was talking about, he was going after one of the congressmen, you know, how they try to do those ambush interviews in the halls of Congress. And he was saying how Israel's slaughtering hundreds of thousands of children in this war. They're just out there targeting hundreds of thousands of children, murdering them in Gaza. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. Those numbers seem really off. So I was looking up, and I was like, okay, let's look up and how many people that both the Israelis and the Palestinian Health Ministry claim have been killed in this war in Gaza. And, I'm not going to take Israel's number, because obviously they're going to say Israel's lying. The Palestinian, what do they call it? The Palestinian Health Ministry says their number of dead in this war is 65,000. Okay, 65,000. And they say there may be up to 100,000 dead that the people haven't found in the rubble. Maybe. But right now, their official count from the Palestinian Health Ministry is 65,000. Now, certainly at least 20,000 to 30,000 of those 65,000 dead are Palestinian fighters, Hamas combatants. Okay. So I was trying to figure out, well, where the hell did this woman come up with these 650,000? They murdered 650,000 people. Or how did this guy say that they've killed hundreds of thousands of children? And I say it's from the internet telephone game. Meaning, one person says, the Palestine Health Ministry says there's 65,000 killed, but there may be 100,000 in the rubble, total dead. And then the next person says, well, yeah, they've killed over 100,000 Palestinians. And the next person says they've killed hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. And then the next person says they've killed hundreds of thousands, they're murdering hundreds of thousands of Palestinian children. And then this other dumb bitch comes up and says, they've killed 650,000 Palestinians. It's a genocide. And I was like, wait a minute. The Palestinian Health Ministry, Palestinians' own numbers, say that 65,000 have died in the war. And then when you say that's a genocide, well, wait a minute. There's over 6 million Palestinian people. How is that a genocide? If Israel really wanted to kill all the Palestinians, you don't think they could with their military capabilities compared to Hamas? They have fighter planes and jets and bombs and everything they could be dropping all over both the Gaza and the West Bank. So, and oh my God, the other part is too, they're expected to feed and give humanitarian aid to the Palestinian refugees and whatnot. So not only are they at war with them, but they're also expected to feed them, which Hamas has been stealing the food, and then the UN's not been distributing all the aid that they've given to them. But dude, how do you come up with numbers like that? So again, this is how the internet telephone game works. One person says it's 65,000 according to Palestinian Health Ministry, but maybe up to 100,000. Oh, the next person's there's hundreds of thousands, and the numbers keep growing, and that's where you get like people like Greta Thunberg out there calling it a genocide. Look, if the Israelis wanted to commit genocide, they probably could. They probably could have done it a long time ago, but they didn't. Oh, and the other part about, open air prison. It's an open air prison. I got a question for all the people who wanted to call the Gaza Strip an open air prison. How many open air prisons have 5-star hotels? Or had? How many open air prisons have leaders driving around in Bentleys and Lamborghinis? I watched a video the other day of a young woman who she was showing that she had just gotten her nails done and her toenails, feet done, and she had a massage. And then she's showing a picture of herself in front of the building 2 hours later that's been destroyed. Wait a minute. You can get your nails and feet done and a massage in an open air prison? Oh my God. I couldn't. That's a hell of a open air prison. So anyway, the internet telephone game is a joke. Now, where was I? I was talking about, this is the Charlie Kirk, they invented a Charlie Kirk Israel hoax. Let's see what he says here. 9 out of 10 times the conspiracy theory is a conspiracy. Sometimes there's a 10th time, but not now. What's the source for the Israel killed Charlie Kirk hoax that's distracting us from the leftists who terrorized us on college campuses for decades, who harassed Kirk and then finally killed him? Who wants us to talk about Israel beyond trans Antifa? Yes, people are quoting Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, but Candace's source for this is Max Blumenthal. Max Blumenthal is the terror-supporting son of top Clinton official Sidney Blumenthal, who encouraged Hillary Clinton to invade Libya to win the presidential election. He's a militant leftist. Another source posted earlier on the site by Ann Barnhart is Jackson Hinkle, who assembled what he claimed is every Israel connection to Charlie Kirk's assassination so far that begins with, he was groomed by Israel as a teenager. Who is Jackson Hinkle? He's a communist leader who met with various Islamist terrorist groups, including Hamas and Hezbollah. He has links to the DSA, which is literally how Kirk got killed. Antifa has to be laughing itself sick that it's feeding a civil war within MAGA while covering up its own crime. Okay, that's his editorial on that. So anyway, other headlines. Conspiracy theorists arrested over assassination plot against the GOP governor. Yeah, the New Hampshire governor, there were bomb plots against her. I bet you won't hear about this as much as you heard about the kidnapping plot against Gretchen Whitler, right? New Hampshire man Tristan Anderson was arrested for allegedly plotting to kill Governor Kelly Ayotte with homemade bombs. Tristan Anderson, governor who's involved, when and where. Anderson was arrested last month in Pembroke, New Hampshire. Did any of you ever hear about this? I mean, they talked about that Whitmer kidnapping plot for a long. They're still using that Gretchen Whitler kidnapping plot that the FBI came up with. Remember, the FBI was trying to entrap some guys, so they planned out a kidnapping of Gretchen Whitmer, and then they blamed it on MAGA when the FBI during the Biden administration came up with that plot. You remember that? that was awesome. Anyway, so there you go. I bet you won't hear much about that from the lefties. Oh, no, that's extremism. New York Post, violent, lawless Antifa forces deserve to be labeled as terrorists. Yeah, it's literally political terrorism is what they do. That's what they do. Regardless if they're supposed to be, they're not a loosely associated people who just have a like-minded against fascism. Oh, no, there's fucking chapters. And they go out and commit terrorism against people. They've been terrorizing Republicans and right-wing speakers on college campuses for fucking years. Of course they're terrorists. Even if you don't want to call them terrorists, Their tactics are terrorism. You dipshits. So that's a editorial. A homeless man accused of kidnapping and unwanted sexually violating a child released because prosecutors failed to file charges. This is another problem. You got these stupid ass left-wing Soros paid for attorney generals and shit who do not charge people. Why? Well, they're a unserved population. A homeless man in Seattle with a name that I can't pronounce was arrested on Saturday in a tent city, a city-funded homeless encampment, after being accused of kidnapping and forcibly violating a child, despite prosecution arguing there were probable cause to hold him on charges of a child in the first degree and kidnapping in the first degree with sexual motivation. The dude was released Wednesday night when charges were not filed within the legal deadline. Anyone think that was on purpose? Does anyone think that was on purpose because his name is unpronounceable? God, these motherfuckers. Unbelievable. There's a whole story. You can read it. Pritzker, peacekeeper tied to fatal smash and grab getaway. Oh yeah. So it wasn't Pritzker's though. I thought this was Brandon Johnson who did this. A 40-year-old man was killed in a car crash in Chicago on his way to work last week after a group of robbers sped away from a smash and grab heist at a Louis Vuitton store in Michigan Avenue. One of the 7 suspects charged in connection with crimes was community peacekeeper, and posed for a photo with Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker just 1 week before the storefront raid. We saw this last week that this happened. I didn't know the dude had a picture with Pritzker though. Days before the fatal Mag Mile crash and grab, accused man posed with the governor at a peacekeeper event while wanted in 4 states. Oh my God. Oh, that's just special. I got to find that picture and just post it over and over. Speaking of which, freeing criminals, Mandani wants to free half of the criminals in New York City. There are too many criminals in prison, and Mandani wants to let half of them out. He complained that the Adams administration had increased the number of criminals in Rikers Island by 1,000 and claimed we can reduce that jail population to less than 4,000. The infamous New York City prison has around 7,000 criminals in it, and we can reduce that by 4,000 to less than 4,000. So he wants to let half the criminals out. Fan-fucking-tastic. If you're in New York City and you vote for Mamdani, you are a fucking idiot. I'm just saying. Good luck to yous. Everyone who gives a shit's going to move away. If anyone able to is going to move away, and probably the people, the only ones that are able to already have a lot of money and can afford to move away. Good luck. Speaking of which, nearly a dozen New York City officials arrested after demanding access to ICE holding cells. Yeah, you've got bigger problems than ICE holding cells. Sorry, guys. So, multiple arrests of officials and immigration advocates happening right now. That's, you probably should worry about the criminals your new soon-to-be mayor is going to get laid out. If you haven't seen the screaming match of Rashida Tlaib at Byron Arnold, how long is this clip?
We can't be passive.
Oh yeah, we'll watch this. Then we'll do Friday Q&A. We're gonna watch this. She loses her damn mind. Listen to this. This is Rashida Tlaib.
We can't be passive right now. So nobody over there should take anything we say so personally, as if we're attacking them. No, we're attacking a process.
No, you're
not attacking people here. And I think it's really important. We need to stand up against this fascist takeover. That's not a bad word. It's a fact.
Oh, it's a fact. Whoa. Hold on. Fascist takeover. That's not a bad word. It's a fact. Really? Fascist is not a bad word. So you're giving them a compliment by calling them fascist? Huh? What are you saying? You dumb. Oh my God, she's stupid. Anyway, keep going.
Not a bad word. It's a fact.
It's a fact.
And,
oh, by the way, and it's a fact. By what definition? Please explain your definition of fascist. Just asking. By the way, today's cup is from the Shell Brewery, Shell Brewing Company in New Ulm, Minnesota.
Here in D.C. and across the country.
Oh, by the way, I don't get paid for that. I just like to tell you what my cup is of the day when I remember to do it.
It is so incredibly important, Mr. Chair, that this committee does not allow rhetoric that defames and or
Excuse me. Good morning, Mike Savage. Blarg.
Paints Washington, D.C. in a way that you all haven't really truly seen. You're just reading it. No, you're just reading it or something off of some.
Will the gentlelady yield to a question?
Yeah, I think it's really important.
Will the gentlelady yield?
No, I don't yield. I don't even have time. I can tell you.
Your time's expired.
It is expired, but Mr. Chair.
So her time's expired. Just, did you catch that? Her time was expired. So supposedly when their time's expired, those to shut the fuck up, right? Yeah, no, she gets a little angry here. Watch.
But you all live here, and you're not telling people the beautiful parts that you do see in our nation's capital. And no, it's just wrong how we're doing it.
Chairman, I think it's insane that the gentlelady doesn't have an argument, but she's going to refer to me and some of my colleagues. We were from the Third Reich. This is insane. It's insane. It's insane. It's insane. Do I look like a member of the Third Reich to you, Ms. Tlaib? Is that what I look like to you?
You're the one taking your voting card.
Is that what you think? Is that what you think? Is that what you think?
No, that's unethical.
I think it's radical and I think it's insane. And I'll respect everything that you say. But to say something like that to myself and a lot of my colleagues is way out of line. It's way out of line. It's way out of line.
Regular order, Mr.
Way out of line.
Regular order.
That's okay. But it's okay, right?
That is not how it
goes. It's okay, right?
You hold yourself accountable before you talk about
Hold myself accountable. Hold your own self accountable. How about that? Hold your own self accountable.
To be fair, Byron Donalds is joined in this hissy fit between the two of them. I'm let me just be fair about that. But she pointed at him and said fascist. Wow. But they both participated in this, so it's not just Rashida Taliban doing this.
How about that?
Free DC and make sure you vote with your own voting card. Don't be giving it to somebody else.
All right, time.
So anyway, that was that. All right, there's other articles I have open, but you know what? Just to be perfectly honest,
this is it. If you ever wondered how democracy dies,
what the fuck is that? Okay, I see. The thing kept going on its own. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. It's just time. It's time. It's that time of the week that you all look forward to. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Friday Q and A. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Friday Q&A, where anything can happen. Questions could be way out in left field. They can be out in right field. They can be right up the middle. And most of them are just weird. So thank you for everyone submitting questions for Friday Q&A. Let us begin. Let's go. First question of the day comes from none other than, someone who doesn't really get their word in that often, too. I appreciate finally hearing from you. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Wait a minute. Here's a deuce in the tip jar. Thank you, Kara Soldier, with a palate cleanser. Oh, well, we'll save that for the end. How long is it? Let's see how long is this palate cleanser? Oh, it's 1:48. Okay, we'll is this something? Oh, wait, this is. Okay, we'll play this at the end. It'll be our palate cleanser for the end. Okay, back to Friday Q&A. Thank you, Kara Soldier, by the way, another douche. You're still the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. All right, Avocaz Diabli, first question of the day. If you were told there were a major musician or musical act that were actually a sleeper cell waiting for their chance to kill, but not who it was, who would you suspect the most? Ooh. Did y'all understand the question? I'll read it again because it's a little bit confusing in the what's the word? Whatever. If you were told there was a major musician or musical act that were actually a sleeper cell waiting for their chance to kill, but not who it was, who would you suspect the most? What I suspect the most. See, there'd be obvious ones like Rage Against the Machine, but I don't think they were a sleeper cell. I would think more like Taylor Swift. Okay, let me be serious. I would maybe like Coldplay? No. I didn't say put you to sleep or sell. I don't know. Maybe Green Day. Green Day? Oh, they're getting too old now. Someone younger. I don't know. Anyway, any one of those would be silly. Avocado Diablo asks, do you think it's possible to breed a human who could ingest deadly chemical agents and release them at will through farts to kill people in an enclosed space? Well, you know, you never know what that genetic engineering, those silly genetic engineering scientists can do. I'm sure that sounds like something that Mengele would have tried but failed. But, you know, somebody's probably going to come up with something, and that'd be a whole different kind of sleeper cell. That'd be a seeper cell. Thank you. By the way, seeper cell. Okay. Avocados Diablo asks, have you ever woken up, gotten dressed, gone to work, come home, started the stream, and gotten to the Q&A portion thinking I was not going to ask if you had unseen that Adam Schiff thumbnail yet, you son of a bitch! I hate you, AD. Okay, I don't really, but that sounds funny. Avocados Diablo asks, how long do you think it would take a dozen gerbils to entirely consume the remains of the average adult male? A dozen? Ooh. A dozen, I don't think a dozen would get very far. I don't think a dozen would get very far. I think a dozen, it would take a couple days because they can only eat so much at a time. And by the time they got to the, let's say they start at the toes because, gerbils love toes. If they started the toes, they wouldn't be past the knee after the first day, I don't think, because they get full really fast. And then by the time they got to like the solar plexus, they would be, the meat would be all gross and shit because it'd be decayed. And I just don't think I don't think they could do it. I'm just saying. Avocados Diablo asks, if someone mistakenly texts the wrong number and asks you to pick up the baby from daycare, is it ever appropriate to respond, they told me you picked him up? No, that would be mean. That would be me. I'm one of those people, if someone texts me something that sounds important or someone sends me an email that's something that sounds important, I will quickly laugh at them being so fucking stupid. And then I'll send a message back going, yeah, I'm sorry. This is not who you think it is. Guess who? Lord Stand-Up asks, I'm sorry, but if you do not, wait, I'm sorry, but you do understand the like must be earned and not granted. Bitch, please. Fucking hit the like button and shut the fuck up. I'm sorry, didn't mean to be disrespectful. Avocados Diablo asks, do you believe in prophetic dreams? Regardless, I suggest if a one-armed man named Abdul Gutierrez Adolphus ever asked you to go deep-sea fishing, you refuse. Okay, that's good advice. I should play music or something during Friday Q&A, shouldn't I? Wouldn't that be like appropriate, playing some music? I'm not going to do it today, but I'll think about that for the future. It'll make Friday Q&A even more interesting. I don't know how that could happen. Anyway, Jay Blizza, JB, our friend, says, or excuse me, Axe, JB Axe. I just did that for funny effect. I don't say Axe. I had a hard time even saying it. JB asks, what is your favorite melee weapon? If you had to choose one, I might use a halberd, however it is spelt. Spelt? What the fuck is spelt? Is that some kind of fish with a lisp? What the fuck is spelt? Anyway, my favorite melee weapon. What are those things? I like the swinging ball thing with the spikes, whatever those are called. I don't know. Is that what you were talking about? Those are pretty cool, although they're probably not the most effective weapon. Maybe nunchucks. I don't know. Lord Stanhope asks, you wonder how Biden became president? Do you understand how wantonly stupid the left is? Yes. Oh, a flail? Is that what those things are called? Or a mace? No, it's a mace, isn't it? Funky Friday. Play that Funky Friday music. P-Dawg. Play that funky music. I could do that. The only problem is I'm going to get rid of the music service because I don't use it anymore. We'll figure it out. I'll find some. I'll make my own compilation of funky music that won't get me flagged. All right. Oh, my answer was yes. I do understand how wantonly stupid the left is. I do. Yes, absolutely. Avocado Stably asks, if Captain Kangaroo and Mr. Rogers got into a tag team match with Julia Child and Bob Ross, who do you think would win? Obviously, they are all alive and in their prime. Clearly, Julia Child and Bob Ross would win that match. Why? Because Bob Ross would just sit and talk and the other two would fall asleep and they'd get a quick pin. So there you go. It's simple. Simple. Avocado Diablo asks, do you think cannibals make gravy out of the drippings that they then soak up with bread made from ground up human bones? You nasty. I'm just saying, you nasty. You nasty. Probably. Ask the Diablo. Oh, no. JB asks, if you could make up a holiday, what would it be? Well, clearly be Marty Day, where everyone would shower me with gifts and flowers. Lord Stanhope asks, do you know before one can appreciate steak and lobster or shrimp and prime rib, you must learn to enjoy Slim Jims and Kraft Singles? You know, these yes or no questions are usually pretty easy. And that is a heavy duty motherfucking right on yes. Yes, I do. JB asks, what would your pirate captain name be? Marty. That's simple. Marty. Midnight asks, how was your morning? My morning's fucking great. Thank you, Midnight, my young protege. Avocado Seattle asks, do you think if everyone were to start voting for people based on whom they want to have sex with, things would be better or worse? On second thought, that would put a lot of women in there, wouldn't it? Are you sure just women? Look, because remember, women would have to answer that question too, right? Because I'm sure there's a lot of women who would want to screw Gavin Newsom, or I don't know. I mean, he's a jagoff, but he's a decent looking guy, right? But since more men vote than women, yeah, you could. Well, there's a lot to choose from, so you're going to get some asshole as president anyway. Lawrence Stanhope asks, did you say today is aortic dissection day or orca dissection day? Because I'd love to take apart a killer whale. Yeah, no, it was the former. Yeah, which, you know, that's some doctor shit that I don't know how to do. Lord Stanhope asks, which Williams sister would you prefer to kick the crap out of you? Look, I know that on camera, Venus and Serena look like they could be really tough chicks. But remember, they're still under 6 feet tall, and I could whoop both their asses probably at the same time, so it ain't happening. Don't even ask a stupid question. Okay, I didn't mean to call it stupid. It's a dumb question. Lord Stanhope asks, do you understand freedom of speech only applies to the government? Yes, absolutely. I'm not saying that there's no freedom of speech issue in Jimmy Kimmel's firing. Unless they were, pressured by the FCC, which is the government, but I don't think that's it. I honestly believe that Jimmy Kimmel's show was going away sometime soon anyway, and this was just their bullshit excuse, and then they could blame it on the government. Darren Root asks, I wonder if Universal Studios will replace the Jimmy Kimmel ride. There's a Jimmy Kimmel ride at Universal Studios? There's a Jimmy Kimmel... Ugh, gross. Why? Unless it's like man show themed. That would be kind of cool. Anyway, Lord Stanhope asks, do you know that the Bill of Rights was included in the Constitution because colonial America was a self-regulating society, and most rights cannot work when such a society is not present? I'm going to take your word for that. And also, and the Bill of Rights was supposed to be shit that the federal government can't do, although at some point everyone wants it to be what the government should do, and that's bullshit. Lord Stanhope asks, the government extends you a freedom of speech or expression because they will do absolutely nothing to keep someone punching you in the face. Maybe they may look for them afterward. I'm not sure I understand the question, but I do know that. Because they will do absolutely nothing to keep... Yeah, that sounds right. I'm trying to read the question and figure out what the proper answer is, but I understand the question and I agree the sentiment. Lord Stanhope asks, how much do you want to bet the wealthy who were burned out in the LA fires thought they would be immune from a lot because they voted for the Democrat? Oh, Al, they sure were, and they be learning right now, aren't they? They're learning right now how that was bullshit. Avocados Diablo asks, do you think that $3 million for Chelsea's wedding was just to pay the groom to walk down the aisle? I wouldn't have done it for less than 30 personally. Well, look, I don't think Chelsea Clinton is a bad person. And in her, obviously, I don't want, okay, I'm not going to talk about her looks because she seems to be a nice person, nice human being. And I'm sure there's, and as I always tell everybody, that even ugly people, not that I'm saying that she is, but there is somebody for everyone. And if she found love and that person found love and they're finding love together, more power to them. Good for them. But yeah, I don't know. Avocados Diablo, on a related question, what's worse, destitution or being compelled to make sweet love to Chelsea Clinton with your face? Look, in my day, nah, never mind. That's not true. Avocados Diablo asks, as a professional bartender, once the jar holding Hitler's brain runs out of formaldehyde, what do you substitute for it and make a tricky dicky screwdriver? Why do you come up with such gross shit? Vodka and orange juice. I mean, what else? That's how it works. Ms. Wild Wolf asks, do you know anything about the allodial title? As a homeowner, everyone should know about it, in my opinion. The allodial title. Now, that's a new word. I've never heard of. Is this something that has a different name? Let's see. This is according to Wikipedia, which is, always the best source. Allodial title constitute ownership of a real property that is independent of any superior landlord. Allodial title is related to the concept of land held in allodium, or land ownership by occupancy and defense of the land. Most property ownership in common law jurisdictions is fee simple. In the United States, the land is subject to eminent domain by federal, state, and local government, and subject to the imposition of taxes by state and or local governments, and there thus is not true allodial land. Some states within the U.S., notably Nevada and Texas, have provisions for considering land allodial under state law, and the term may be used in other circumstances. Okay, I got that. I just didn't know the name of that particular provision. Yeah, people should know that, but good luck finding land that is allodial. good luck with that, because the government thinks they're going to tax you any way they can on any land you own, except certain circumstances, which are pretty rare. Lord Stand-Up, since you would rather be fired than make a Tito's Old Fashioned, what other drinks would you prefer to lose your job over? You know, there's a lot of bartenders who hated it, like when I was at TJ Fridays in particular, because we made tons of frozen and ice cream drinks and stuff. There's a lot of bartenders that really hated making them, would bitch every time they'd get one or whatever. And I'm really not that particular about drinks that are on the menu, but a Tito's Old Fashioned is just a dumb concept, so I'm not making one. Fuck you. I'll make something that resembles a Tito Old Fashioned, but I'm not going to call it an Old Fashioned because there's no such thing. Anyway, Avocados Diabli asks, what is the biggest regret of your life? And it cannot be ever giving me the power to ask you endless amounts of asinine questions. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that, because I actually enjoy your asinine questions, because, you know, got to do something on Friday mornings. There's a lot of little decisions along the way that I wish I would have made. I wish I would have started a different major in college in particular. I wish I would have stuck with the computer science stuff. I enjoyed the computer science stuff in college, but it was so fledgling at the time, and it was just so weird. I mean, you know, back then you're learning BASIC and COBOL, and let's see, there's like 3 or 4 languages that you're learning. But in my later years, I'm like, oh, I kind of like that stuff. I wish I would have stuck with it. I'd probably, you know, have a lot more money right now. Let's see. Midnight asks, what do you think about being my teacher? I fear for you, my dear. I fear for you. But, you know, the fact that that one young person is listening to me does give me great hope. But just be careful using what I say out in public, because there's some shitty people out there. Miss Wildwolf asks, if you could teach one class besides current events, what would it be and why? Probably things related to my former job in mortgage lending, just how lending works, how interest works, things about practical things like that. Even though I've, you know, my own life, I haven't been the most responsible person, although we do pretty well. I have great credit and whatnot, but basic credit and how loans work, because a lot of people get themselves into trouble. When I hear somebody, for example, I've seen some of these examples on social media where people are making car payments that are like $1,500 a month and have these loans that have these ridiculous loan terms. I'm like, oh my God, how did you get yourself into that? Your car loan payment is bigger than my house payment. Financial literacy, that would probably be the one I would teach. Avocados Diabli asks, do you find it concerning that I have not asked about self-repeating Frankenats lately? Like maybe they are planning something big and have paid me to keep quiet? No, because other people have taken up your mantra of asking me about self-repeating Frankenats. And the Frankenats aren't really as smart as you think they are. They're pretty fucking stupid, but they are self-repeating. So self-repeating, which, you know, that's the biggest concern, because you got a bunch of stupid ants all over the place. Avocados Diabli asks, considering Kimmel has been hosting that show as long as he has, do you think if they could have found a decent guest host, they wouldn't have just given them the show and replaced him long ago? Yes and no. Yes and no, because they always run the risk of pissing people off because they love this politics. And I think they knew the show sucked, and they would try to figure out how to just end it and not have it. The format sucks because nobody's watching that format anymore. It's a very, you know, look, there's a clip of Johnny Carson talking about why he was never political, because his show was just designed to be entertaining. And I think they know that if they would have changed the format to being not political with a new host and just make it entertaining, they would piss off all the people that were still watching it anyway. And there's a lot more things to be entertaining because nobody has the attention span to watch those stupid shows anymore anyway. So I think they were just trying to find a way to kill the show. Avocados Diabli asks, in your professional opinion as a bartender, what's the best cooking oil to douse yourself in while running through the holiday parade naked? Bartenders don't use cooking oil, so I'm not really sure. Probably coconut oil, because you have to kind of spread it out and it doesn't really run all over you. It looks like you're putting on Vaseline, but anyway. Why do I know that? Lord Santa asks, Walter Matthau and Darren McGavin, were they ever young? No, Walter Matthau was always old to me. He was always old. Even in his younger days, he looked old. He looked like he was 60 when he was in his 40s. And Darren McGavin, I'm not sure who that is. Avocados Diablo asks, what was George Papard's better role? Colonel John Hannibal Smith on the A-Team or Banachek on the same named show? Oh, come on. Hannibal Smith, by far. I mean, Banachek was a great show, but there's no greater character on the greatest show ever written than John Hannibal on the A-Team. There you go. Ms. Wildwolf, am I the last question? No. And oh my God, there's a shit. I got to do lightning round. I'm way behind. Thanks for letting me know. Holy shit. Okay, it's lightning round. Got to do it. Lord Santa, as a Puerto Rican living in the Bronx, is it really wrong I couldn't give a rat's ass about the Middle East? No problem. Avocados Diablo, between Rocky and Bullwinkle, King Leonardo and his short subjects, and Underdog, which had the best segments in it? Oh, Leonardo. Definitely King Leonardo and his short subjects. Those were awesome. Ms. Wildwolf, what is your favorite screen to use for your background? That one. For now, I don't have a favorite screen. This is the moving one that I have. I don't even know where I got it from. Ms. Wildwolf, is Midnight your favorite young friend? Well, except for my granddaughters, but sure, yes. My favorite young friend in this show is definitely Midnight. Avocados Diablo, what? You've never heard about the nail and hair salon in Auschwitz? Yeah, except it worked a little differently. Like the hair gone, the nails gone, no, not cool. Lord Stand Up, if you bought a porterhouse T-bone steak pack, but it's not beef, it's veal, is it still a porterhouse and a T-bone? Technically, yes. Yes, it is. It's just a different porterhouse and T-bone. Because just like, the tenderloin, there's a tenderloin in a sheep, there's a tenderloin in a chicken, there's a tenderloin in a beef, there's, the same thing. You can have, veal steaks, sure. Deer steaks, deer porterhouse. Ooh, a deer porterhouse? Damn. Ms. Wawa asked, did you know that there was once more than 20 people on Discord with Tyler that were helping him to construct the assassination? Yeah, I don't know it for a fact, but there is chitter chatter about that right now. Lord Stand Up, the 5-star prison massages have happy endings. Yeah, and then they killed the performers for breaking Islamic law. Lord Stand Up, not just that, Pantifa only has 1,200 members. Some entity is shuttling them around. Yep, somebody is. Selecta Boy asks, what is a show that was once so bad that you had to wash your eyes out to forget it? Oh gosh, I can't think of that one. I'll have to come back to that. Oh, it was so bad. The View. Lord Stanhope, what will happen when violence interrupters respond to violence and instead get violated? Oh, you mean like when Antifa goes in and they think they're going to beat some people up and then they get their ass kicked like by other people? That's what happens. Avocado Stab, this is the last question I will ask. Maybe. No. Lord Stanhope, will you have a good weekend? Absolutely. Lord Stanhope, if Byron let the 5 fingers speak to her face, would you buy a mistake? No, I'm not for violence. I know what you meant with Rashida Taliban. And Select Boy, what pulls more revenue, entertainment or politics? Oh, politics by far. Select Boy, what would you take for modern singers to get the level of star power that Michael Jackson or Prince had? talent and a way to become the star, like a multi-star on TikTok. But it takes talent. It absolutely takes talent. It takes talent, and it takes promotion, which sometimes that's interesting too. There's not going to be habit. There are some. Oh, the star power. The star power is going to be hard, especially Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson had star power with maybe not the most talent, although he's extremely talented, but I think Prince was far more talented. But Michael Jackson just had that it factor. Avocados Daily, speaking of Mengele and human atrocities, have you seen there is a movie about Unit 731 coming out? No. And do I want to hear it about it? Avocados Dabbly. Now, is this the last realized question I will ask? Probably not. Second boy, if your team has the first overall pick in the draft, would your pick be based on star power or need? Absolutely need. Although in the WNBA history, I think Caitlin Clark fit both. Select boy, if a restaurant served the Elvis sandwich, would you try it? Oh, peanut butter and banana sandwich grilled? Hell yes. Oh, fuck yeah. Mike Savage, what's a good mix with Kahlua? Well, cream and Coke. Take a little bit of Kahlua with some cream and top it with Coke. That's a Colorado Bulldog. Select boy, which sport is hard hitting between football? Which is harder hitting between which sport? I thought you meant harder hitting between football and hockey. You know, there's some equally nasty hits in both of them. I'm not going to pick one. Ms. Wildwolf, did you remember I am live on my YouTube at the same time, at the same name for her classes? Do you remember I am live on my YouTube at the same time for her classes? Oh yeah, I know that. I wish I could spend more time on your streams too, but I don't. It's just bad timing for me. So every once in a while. Midnight, do you know how to cook? Oh, yes, I'm a very accomplished cook. I'll tell you why another day. Have you ever had Avocado Sam, have you ever had a song stuck in your head that you did not recognize, looked up the lyrics and discovered it was a song you have never even heard before? That has never happened. Avocado Stably, third time's a charm. Is this the last real question I will ask today? Yes, because I'm not going to answer any more questions other than the last two, which these are the last two questions on Friday Q&A. And they all come from Miss Wildwolf. What is your favorite drink of all time? I like old fashions, but a good old cold glass of ice water after walking through the desert is pretty damn good too. Ms. Wildwolf asks, what is the best podcaster that you have seen? I don't know. And finally, there's too many. I don't know. I don't spend a lot of time with podcasters. And finally, the last question of Friday Q&A. Would you hit AD with a baguette? Depends on how tall the baguette is. If you don't understand that, well, I'm sorry. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. I got to go. This is really beyond my normal running time. Sorry. Thanks for joining me Morning Out Live and Friday Q&A and all that other shit. Thanks to my superstar spot of the day, Kara Soldier, and all of you who spend your time with me on a regular basis or an irregular basis, or if you're irregular and you came back because you had to take care of some business, well, that's cool too, but that's it. I got to go. My name's PDawgKnight. See you on Monday. I'm out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thanks for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.